All right. Should I get my Yoda ball sweater on, or is this sufficient? I have it on. I like it when you can see the colors, because it like shifts your thoughts in your mind. So I'm feeling really grounded now after the week long of psychic attack, force channeling. I've never felt anything like that. I mean, I have at some point, but 5 days of just constant mind control stuff. Bizarre. All right. So all of it ended up on Facebook because we are getting the FBI involved. Nobody is allowed to get knife raped for 4 months on this planet. And there to be no response from the knife raper. It's pretty bizarre. All right. So in the future, especially with the magical world opening up, that would be illegal even over a 24-hour period. So if somebody's getting knife raped and there is an email sent out to the knife raper and they don't respond within 24 hours, done. And we're going to learn how to prosecute it. Eventually, like, we're going to start with probably a couple days, but it will end up being like mandate law. So, and that's why the non-knife rapers will end up having bit marks, and they will be registered with the FBI, so that if somebody does suggest somebody like a non-knife raper is doing it, the non-knife rapers have a little bit more grace and like leeway because they did this huge amount of work to make sure that that never happens. Whereas the knife rapers don't, you know? So like, this will be a federal mandate, and we will end up making it international. But as much as the magical world like exists, like it's gonna exist more in America and the properly civilized countries than anywhere else. So it's gonna be an interesting adventure. We need highly intellectual, logical humans to be handling magic, not like psychopaths that, you know. All right. Yoda balls, part 2. This is your 5 biggest problems. So on the list, maybe you went through the first Yoda balls and you found like demons or shadows or like issues that you have like major problems with. So with Elaine, it might be money. Like it might be a money thing. And then for Kelly, it might be setting up better, maybe some better Gryffindor boundary mind stuff. Something like that. I don't know. We're going to see. Okay. But mine are clear. I had actually more than 5. I had like 30, but I whittled it down to my 5 biggest problems. Number 1, making sure the Hufflepuff cook goes through well on this planet. So yeah, I have to make a Yoda ball for that. Okay. Number 2, I'm scrolling through. I'm gonna do, let's just start right now. Screen share. Desktop. Share. There we go. So here we go. So the Hufflepuff cook one was pretty bad. My next one is personal power. making sure that my personal power remains intact and I'm not giving it away to anybody else, like Star or Brock or the Dalai Lama. So like making sure that I'm legitly in my body, in my fields, connected with my dragons. I don't care if I give my power away to the giant dragons because they're not psychopaths. And they're all Gryffindor and they're usually way smarter than anybody. So making sure I'm in my personal power. I don't suggest that you give your power away to your dragons. It's kind of like giving your power away to your kid. It's different. Like, okay, so, but you can, and it's not gonna like go insanity. But you still have to set important boundaries and structures with them, and you have to like, but they're usually really respectable and reasonable, you know. And then making sure I'm in my God space. So the biggest thing about power is it's good. So you need to be aligned with good logic, humanitarian progress. Okay, so, and like the greater good. If you want to get to like head of Gryffindor level, head of Ravenclaw or level, like if you want to get into that, that's like being impeccable with every inch of logic in your brain for infinity. That. So the personal power. Okay. So personal power is also not giving your power away to the planet, but working with the planet instead. Giving it away, like, so I'm not supposed to give my power away to Mother Andromeda. She's my Rava. She's not me. She's my Rava. And even like when Rava gets stolen out of Korra, Korra still has to like ascendio with her own spirit. So just so we understand that. So I don't necessarily give my power away. Rava is allowed to force channel on me because she's just a teacher. It's not the same. And it doesn't feel like force channeling. It feels like my friend going, hey. So that's not giving my power away. When it becomes annoying or abusive, that's what's giving my power away. Okay, so Jaguar, Ball, and personal power. So I need to do that. And we're going to explain all of this. Next, that's my second problem. My third problem, reclaiming my physical body. I've been doing dimensional magic and DNA mutation, and now I'm ready to physically build after all the mutations. And so now I have to reset my physical body. And this is where I hear Star come in and say, oh, well, that's what I've been doing. And I go, no, that's not, like, I take a 4-hour walk a day. And I eat well. Okay, and I starve to death on a beach to magically transmute all my bone cellular structure. It's not the same. Reclaim my body, dancer's body, peppermint ball. So we create another one. So this was starting from 0. So it's like after my hunger strike and after all these crazy DNA mutations, it's like, how do I get back into my athlete body? Because before I went through all the DNA mutations, I had a different body and it was like athlete. So I need to get back to that. So I already have all that pattern in my aura. I already have it in my brain. It's the same. Okay. And then we have the martial arts and like mastery body. So it's the ninja. It's the ninja. It's the dance. It's the like actually learning how to master like the martial arts. All right. So that's 4 problems. And then we have the get through to Slytherins. So this is another major problem of mine. Most everyone is sitting in huge amounts of denial about their existence, about their karma, about their body. Most people will not even stand on a scale and go, yeah, this is like, that's where I'm at. That's where most people exist. Much less will they go through all their lower selves in the underworld and see all the stuff. And see all this stuff that they never cleaned up from past lives. Okay. So it's really challenging, and we created a ball, and I'm going to explain it. And then the next one is this is my secret ball that I'm not allowed to share with anybody. But I'm just gonna show it to you really quick. That's the grid. Oh, that's the one I'm really not allowed to share with you. Okay, so I'm allowed to share with you my Hermione ball. So this is the getting everything done. So what my problem is I make a to-do list of 500,000 things I need to get done for the day. And I go, I can't do all of it. So I need, and then I beat myself up for the fact that I cannot get all of it done. And then it causes me more problems than good stuff. So we're gonna do something. So you're gonna go through all your ornaments and you're gonna find your 5 problems and all your pictures of your ornaments. You're gonna find your 5 problems and you're gonna start throwing pictures and ideas into each section, just like I did. So like this one, it was just 2 of them. And I went through it with Lucifer, but like, so we went through it, but I want to show you what I do when what happens when I got an idea afterwards. So we thought we were done, and then I went for a walk. And I remembered a lot of times I'll do a protection grid on the dolphins. And the first time I did the protection grid on the dolphins came through and said, never talk to anyone. Just keep doing all these grids and never speak to anybody. Because everybody's so low and they're so, like, they're not even living on planet Earth. They're living in some weird parallel reality that they're humans that are like jerking off, and then they're not of any value, you know? So that's one of the totems is the dolphin that needs to go in my Hermione ball. Because if I don't talk to people that are stupid narcissists that just want attention, they just want me to pet them, well, I have 5,000 things to do, then it takes away from my time. Now, if they're like good people, here's the weird part, is I need a discernment component. It's like, find who I need to talk to get something done. But there's right now, I feel like with the dolphins, there's a reason why they're saying don't talk to anybody. And maybe we'll figure out a way to make sure, like, so I'm going to go to my folder where I go red plus blue angel wings. And we're going to look for an indicator for discernment. And then we're going to look for the dolphin and see if we need to add any couple things. So I'm wondering what a discernment indicator might look like, and I'm just gonna scan and see what pops up. And I kind of like this butterfly as a discernment indicator of somebody I need to talk to. That maybe like a little, like a lime green butterfly will show up on somebody's shoulder, and then that's the kind of person I do need to talk to, something like that. And then there's another way to do it of like why I need to talk to them is like they have something for me, or I need to give them a healing, or like the reasons why. So then there will be like codes of colors. So maybe it's an orange butterfly if it's somebody I need to give a healing to. And then maybe so then that's going to be a whole other ball. Okay, so it's starting to get really complex. And now I know that I don't want to add that into this ball except for one little section. So these Yoda balls can become very layered. It's just like building a website. So there's a component here of like these shoes being like a Collie Wren thing. Like the when people try to make me wear their shoes, that I go, no, I've been there. I don't need to wear Star Fuentes' shoes as a knife raper. I need to wear my own shoes. She needs to wear my shoes. Getting knife raped from her for 4 months. Trying to protect my nieces from her for 4 months. So, yeah, it got real old. So sometimes I use this butterfly as an indicator, but I think this is going to be something for Yoda. So the assignments we give, the mental assignments we give to things is indicative of the same. So I'm looking for the dolphin, and I'm looking for the indicator of who I want to talk to. I'm thinking also that this mushroom, if it's clipped to somebody, that they're like a knife raper and I need to do real work on them. So, and this is where the Slytherins, they have a lot of invisibility stuff where they protect their energy fields for other higher level magicians to be able to access all of their stuff. It's a known trait. So then we do this Ravenclaw. It's actually this color pink, and we go Revelio, and then we do this Ravenclaw pink powder dust, and it exposes all their crap. Gryffindors don't have the same problems. So if you expose Gryffindors, usually what will show up is just a blank screen of blue. So this is all one giant unity consciousness matrix. It's not like everybody gets to make up their own stuff. It doesn't work like that. It all connects and it all like is one giant system. It's one giant computer head. Like everybody has a liver, everybody has a pancreas. The same thing. Everybody's got chakras. Everybody's got lower selves and higher selves, unless they've gotten their lower selves cut off because they fell off the tree of life. So, trying to think. Indicator. Who I need to talk to. I kind of like the idea that a red ladybug would show up on somebody's shoulder. That I really need. They're a beneficial bug. It's really that they're a beneficial bug and they're coming from the higher planes and I need to talk to them to see something. And then it might show their beneficial bug from Gryffindor, a beneficial bug from Ravenclaw, and I actually have to indulge in a conversation with them. I think that that's actually nicer. These would not be knife rapers. But because I don't normally like to talk to anybody. So maybe it shows up on their hat. Maybe it shows up on their chest. If I need to heal them or do some weird stuff like that, maybe it shows up like it's a green ladybug, you know? But it might show up astrally or physically, that kind of thing. Or they might have a tattoo. That happens a lot, by the way. They'll have the tattoos they'll have a tattoo of the dragon on the right shoulder where their non-knife raper marks will be, or something like that. Or a giant black panther right up their chest, and you go, yeah, that's the person I need to talk to. Because they've got the totem, they paid for the mud, they did their stuff. All right, I'm looking. The other component of a person I need to talk to is a green dragon wrapped around their crown. And that means they're our tribe. Green dragons are not Slytherin, but it might mean that they're going through the transmutation processes. So if the little green dragons show up everywhere, then they're probably online. Okay. This is how we start defining people. So a little green dragon also would indicate that they're part of the Hufflepuff Nexa upgrades. So they're in, you know, they're in the tribe. And maybe it's a red little dragon. Okay, so let's find the dolphin. But I like showing you what I would do in my brain as I go through this, because it's kind of like showing you my mental thought processes. There's baby Yoda, the squirrel. So I have 500 other balls we're gonna create. And I'm gonna do that in the other videos. We're gonna do 4 to 5 of these videos. So we're doing first our 5 biggest personal problems, and then we're gonna do 5 big world service problems. And then we do 5 problems with that are just rando fun. So probably like who I want to talk to. We'll do that ball and we'll draw it out. That will be Yoda Balls video 4. I'm almost there. So then totem. So I tried to make sure that they were all glass because that was the rule that I set up. But then sometimes there's like an ornament that's like this, it's like my dragon on a candy cane, and I go, I still need the concept of it. So, and then sometimes I just collect pictures because there are ideas of stuff. Okay, I think we're getting close. And all I'm hearing is just criticisms from people. Okay. We're getting close to the dolphins. Here's the whale. So we're gonna do the freeing the whale and cleaning the oceans and stuff and like stopping deforestation in the next. I'm not finding the dolphin and I'm wondering why. Probably so you guys can see all the things that I've collected. And how I didn't organize it. It just kind of went up rando. So all the cookies are like, those are the Hades cookies. I'm still not finding the dolphins. There they are. Okay, so there are 2 dolphins here. I'm wondering. So here's something for Kelly. Eddie, like this nail polish and the cyan, and then there's that to mix it. That's like a Kelly ball. And then we have here the Color Run shoes. I'm just gonna call it the Color Run shoes. But then we have them here as athletic shoes, so it's the same thing. I use it more for the athletic, and that's why I took the athletic. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna throw it in with the athletic shoes because I'm gonna create a bridge in my mind that they're the same instead of different. Oh no, you know what it's doing? I have too many attachments, so now I have to do this. Too much stuff. All right. This is how I deal with that. Oh, I should do it the other way. This way. That's better. Okay. So this is just the gross rough draft, and then we can make them look really nice and pretty, but we just need the records of it. Because we'll also draw them out too. Okay, so let's talk about the Hermione ball. I need to get all my stuff done. My to-do list all done at once. So how do I do that? So first we have the money bag. So just remember Hermione's purse is like layered with 5,000 things. And it's also a Mary Poppins purse. So it's the same thing. So we have the Mary Poppins umbrella as well. But it's also, we call this the Lucifer Make It Rain umbrella. And nobody knows, but I bought this umbrella a long time ago, and it was very expensive because it's a fancy umbrella. And it was bought by Bella Umbrellas in shipped to Los Angeles. So it was something I found a long time ago. Now it's sitting in the closet of my mother's condo, unless she gave it away, but it exists. It's a real umbrella that we have. And we bought it when the droughts were happening to bring rain to Los Angeles, because the rain was was all up in Seattle, and we were cleaning up the droughts. And so this was back in 2015 to 16. And we bought it in 2016, and then the rains came that winter. That's where we got the Lucifer Make It Rain grid. It was awesome. So I found the umbrella in 2015, and then we bought it in 2016 online. Okay. So the Hermione, so that we have that, we call it this is the money bag, but it's also like the purse, Hermione's purse. And there are a couple of magics that come with that bag. Okay. There is one magic that we call, it's called the potato sack ball, where we put a money bag on top of us, and it cuts us off from the Slytherin mirrors. And what this means is that a lot of times when you do spells on other people that are attacking you, knife raping you, stabbing you, forcing you to channel them, what they'll do, and your spells are literally just self-defense. What they'll do is then force those spells right back onto you. And so what the money bag does is it cuts you off. It ascendios you, at least your body, into Hufflepuff to protect you from them. So it cuts you off of their mirrors that they have to deal with, that you're not them, you know? Like, so they're not necessarily allowed to do those spells on you. So that is one of the first magics we put on the Hermione ball, is like, just because I make sure that Star gets punished every single time she says a lie, because her lies create knife rape, my lies don't create knife rape. If I'm lying, it's usually to protect people from Slytherins. Okay, like Dumbledore. Her lies cover up the truth of like what frauds they are. That dimensional mastery is totally good, and everybody's teleporting right now, and we're all just giant like movie stars, stuff like that. And those are not, none of that's acceptable. Okay. It's also the lies where she tells herself she's Hermione Granger and I'm nothing, so she can force herself to force herself onto me so that she can steal my body. Because those are the things she tells herself in her brain. It's pretty bad. All right, so that's what the money bag is for. The next, I have a problem. I do too many things. Too many. So sometimes I'll do something really well, and I go, I have to do this times 5,000. So there's a teaching here. It's like a mama bear, like Goldilocks and the Three Bears teaching. It's like, I'm just a little gnome. I can only do so much. It's you either do the pack of 3 version, the pack of 1 version, or the pack of 5 version, but not the 5,000. And especially out of today, like that's the to-do list. It's like the pack of 1 version, the pack of 3 version, or the pack of 5 version, but not the 5,000. The 5,000 is over a time spectrum and not a today thing. So it's like, I'm just a little gnome. I'm not allowed to think like that. So this keeps me from going to the park and trying to pick up every piece of litter. That kind of thing. All right. I also have a magic where I pick up 5 cigarette butts a day. And it's like, it's a magic where I take 5 excuses out of my brain or my matrix and I throw it into the trash. And then it takes out the Slytherin grid on the planet with these balls. So what these balls will cover all the nutsack with Gryffindor and Yoda ball magic. Pretty nice. And then we have the dolphins, where it's like, don't talk to anybody. Don't talk to anybody else. Do the work to protect the dolphins and stop talking to people. Okay. Then we have the next stuff where it's like I'm undergoing huge amounts of psychic attack and everybody wants me to live in their thought forms because they want me to know what they're like and they want attention from Kali Red, so they take over my body. They want me to speak with what they're saying. They want me to say what they're thinking, all of that kind of stuff, right? So these are Kali Ren shoes. It's like, nope, I'm the dragon warrior. like mine. My feet, my shoes, my body. And then the toothpaste is like my words coming out of my throat. Nobody else's, unless it's like Lucifer or the dragons or Mother Andromeda or Mother Earth. All day long, every day for infinity. It's pretty gross what I've experienced over the last decade. Like unforgivable. Okay, now we got the magic 8-ball. And we have the red nail polish. There's a secret magic with this, and this is the time turner magic. And it's specifically for Hermione to get stuff done, to create boundaries that are like Gryffindor or higher. Then we have the Lucifer Make It Rain. But it's also like there's a component where it's like Lucifer Make It Rain, sweet grounding on everything. The sweet potato is grounding everything. Now, These are Color Runs Net Socks to always make sure that Christmas magic comes through in the feet. And it's Yoda balls and Gryffindor. This is all Gryffindor. And it's like through all the different rays. So these are the gummy bears. I'm not really sure what, I think there's a magic to each color gummy bear. We haven't decided what that one's gonna be yet. And that's kind of a problem considering we're trying to build the Yoda ball right now. Then we have the pomegranate. Now the pomegranate is for me to take all the little eggs of all the little kids. So I have a pomegranate for all the kids, and I have a pomegranate for all the dragons. And then we're gonna have a pomegranate for all the different galaxy systems. So we have like these pomegranates to create grids of grids of grids of grids to make sure that everything is taken care of in the little pomegranates. So, because like working with 5,000 dragons and like another 5,000 kids, like if I could do a spell on the pomegranate and then it makes sure it like does the healing on all the kids, then that works. So that's why Isis is the Divine Mother, and then that's the Divine Mother kind of magic. Okay, so this is my orr cake. It's just like make sure Gryffindor sits on Netsuck. And then we are gonna grid up everything with Gryffindor layers forever. Simple. And then here's the Gimel, the camel. So there's a teaching with Gimel and the camel, which is empty cup. Like we don't know what we don't know. So we have to really like empty and go into the unknown sometimes. And sometimes it hurts. So we have to empty the water out of our hump to get into the Holy Land. That's a story of people that would do their pilgrimages from far off places into Jerusalem. And when they would arrive in the middle of the night, the gates would be closed. And there would only be this special doorway to get into the Holy Land. And for a camel to get through, they'd have to empty out their hump and then crawl through the hole. To crawl through under the bridge to get, so they'd actually, and it was a risk that they might die if they emptied out all the water. Okay. Then we have all the gummy bears that are like mixed, and there's a reason. So it's like we think we know things, and then we can also mix them. So it makes sure there's a Tinkerbell lesson here for like Zarina and the Alchemist Fairy. So we like all the fairies. We like Fawn, the animal fairy, and we like Silver Mist, who's the water fairy, and we like Iridessa, who's the light fairy. But then there's the component that Zarina comes along and she goes, I can mix all of it. So it keeps us from being like racist or like sectionist. So it's like, you know, like where we go crazy thinking, oh, I'm just a Dauntless. Oh, I'm just a. It's not the different. It's different than a Gryffindor versus a Ravenclaw. There is an actual difference there, but even that can be taken care of with like I'm a half Gryffindor, half Ravenclaw kind of thing. But then you still choose your house, and then it sits in the aura, and then it's not the same. And then this is the piece of crap that sits at the bottom of Malkuth. So there's a is the Khaleesi charm. This is the Khaleesi charm. And it's also like shamanic heart. They're like, I can still go through icky, bad things. So Lucifer and Charlie were like, we don't even want this to be on the Hermione ball, but it's like the backup just in case. All right, I need to pause this for a minute. Stop video. It's another day and I'm still wearing the same clothes. All right. Kind of tells you something, right? But that's what happens when I get just a little too tired because this download is huge. All right. So we showed everything on the, I'm gonna stop the screen share because I'm gonna show you what we did with all of those things. So I went and I drew them out. And so I draw them out like little Harry Potter glasses, like a circle with the drawing of the ornament. And I'm drawing it in like a linear but a non-linear way. So some of these Rube Goldbergs can be like packs, and it can be like a non-linear cloud. And then it can also be a linear thing where it's just one giant circle. Like this goes to this, goes to this, goes to this, which triggers this, which triggers that. But with the Hermione ball, it's more like all of them are kind of unique. And so it's kind of just one giant cloud. But the point is that I remember that all of them are on that ball and like what they're for. So there's something interesting about the flowers with the gnome guy, because then we have the Christmas socks with the Santa hat with the gnome, and then that leads to the bunnies or the gummy bears. And so there's a component there where it's like every single time the gnome has, like, the gnome's got the Gryffindor Netsacks, but we can always paint them in any color or any house we need them, so that I can always travel between all the different worlds. So that's a really big thing with Hermione. She needs to be able to do all the houses. And she needs to be able to understand all the different. So she needs to be able to go to Hode. She needs to be able to go to Yesod. She needs to handle all of these different places because she is the messenger. So Hermes is the communication god. So he's the one that goes between all the different worlds and realms. So that's the same as Hermione. So that's a really big thing for the Hermione ball. So and then we have the camel, then we have the dolphin, and the dolphin's just hanging out there in the middle because it's like, you know, don't talk to anybody. No matter where we are on the spectrum, just don't talk to people. And then we have the shit pile with the Khaleesi charm rose in the center. That didn't turn out so well. Not like the camel turned out really nice. So the component is like, to do your ball, you should draw out your balls and a map. And you should, like, we might even end up writing what each thing is for. This turns into umbrellas, and then the umbrellas cover the little gnome, and the little gnome holds on to the umbrellas, and then he flies away. So, like, we might actually write out the story in the linear Rube Goldberg. But this is like, I want to say this is a cloudy, what we call it, a cloud. So it's just kind of like an ether pack. So you kind of can just pull from it. All right, so then we have the next ball. Let's get the screen share going. Desktop 1. Share. There we are. Okay. So underneath the Hermione ball, getting through to Slytherins and others. So this is the component. When you're stuck in the lower worlds, all you can see is yourself and your current paradigm. When you get passed into Hufflepuff, you actually develop true humility. So then your brain starts to fade out of that arrogance because you know that you have to operate from an empty cup. So like everything from there is in the unknown. It's also not full of delusions because you're already stepping into the spaces of the divine and very grounded and centered. So your discernment, when you reach Hufflepuff, your discernment increases times 10 because Hufflepuff starts pushing you down into the lower worlds. So your discernment just blows up. And then you also start like not projecting onto other people even higher because your discernment gets way stronger. You might project, so this is the thing about Hufflepuffs, is they usually project themselves onto Slytherins, and this was my problem too, is that you look at yourself going through Hufflepuff and you think everybody is just as good as you are. Bad idea. So when you reach Gryffindor, your discernment gets real clear around that. So you stop seeing people for who you are and for who they are. So the problem with Slytherins is that they'll tell you that you're a narcissist. Or a muggle will tell you that you're a narcissist, even though you're like, yeah, I'm in Hufflepuff right now. Or like, I'm training for Gryffindor. Like, I've written 50 horror books on like saving children and like cleaning up all the hell realms. And like, I've starved to death on a beach for whales. And like, I'm being called a narcissist. And it's the Slytherin or the reptile in people's brains that they're so narcissist that they can't see literally anything that you do. They only see themselves. So they are stuck in this mirror. And so they'll call you a narcissist because they are. And you're like, how do I get through to that thing? How do I get through to that thing? And it's a thing. That's not a human. That's a demon that like is so narcissistic. Like you could be getting knife raped for 4 months and they're calling you a bully and a knife raper and a narcissist. It's bizarro. So, and that's what they do. So like, how do you get through that? So this is my main problem in life is like, how do I break through those people's walls patterns? And so the biggest component, there are 2 charms that came through for when we were doing Hode. And that was the Veritaserum charm. And that was also the Cobra Acid charm. And so on here, we have both. So the peacock is running the Veritaserum charm. And then the little gummy bear, the lime green gummy bear, is running the Cobra Acid charm. So the biggest thing is that there's like, it's like a little time capsule. So anytime they want to like say project their shit at you, you throw them like a see through the mirror ball. So we'll call it the cocky ball or the peacock ball. And it's to shatter their Slytherin. So one of the big components about peacocks, let me give you a backtrack. It helps when you have a strong foundation in animal magics to do these Rube Goldbergs, because you actually know the different totems that fight the other different totems. So the peacock is the enemy of the snake, and because it has many eyes, so it can see everything. So there's a component to the peacock being a Veritaserum charm in this. And so it's also with the Cobra Acid. So then we've got the bear. So it gets all mama berry. And mama bear will tear through everybody real fast. So what I like to imagine is that it's a little ball that it comes in the format of the little green gummy bear, and then they eat it, and then it turns their DNA to start seeing the truth, and it opens up their genome wings into the Vereda serum, and then it starts cobra aciding all the lies that they're saying to themselves about who they are. Okay. And then it also opens up in the back. So it's gonna be a 4-sided ball. So then it goes the peacock feathers in the back on the opposite side, there's sight this way, but there's also sight this way, but then there's also sight this way on the ground. So then it's like that. And then there's another sight that way on the ground. So it's 4-sided. So then the lower selves and the lower worlds that they're starting to have to pay attention to about who they are in the physical world. Because most spiritualists, they like get fat and lazy and sloppy, and then they think that, oh, just because they meditate all day, that makes them like enlightened, and it's not even close, like at all. So, if they were enlightened, they wouldn't be a drain on anybody, including the planet. So we open that ball up, and then it starts to penetrate their entire ecosystem. So it's the truth that burns through their ego. And then you can string, like what we can do is we can actually create the peacock ball and draw it out, and then create a string of it, like it's a string of Christmas lights, and then wrap it around their DNA and wrap it around that person. So that it's like time release capsules. Maybe it goes through once every hour, once every lie, etc., etc., etc. We can also give them an entire like net of those balls. So you can be very creative, but the point is that once you make the ball itself and the magic that goes into that ball, the creative applications to that ball just go boom, huge explosion. Okay, the next. So this one's the mastery of the martial arts. So how would I draw out the ball to see through the mirror ball? Well, first I have to find my page. It's pretty simple. I'd probably draw it with the 4-sided peacock, with the gummy bear going down through the esophagus to burn through all the DNA in the spinal column, in the central column. And that the little green bear targets onto each vertebrae and each DNA thing going up into the higher worlds, the middle worlds, the lower worlds, up and down through the tail. And then it just, one giant hologram of peacock Vereda serum. So how would I draw that out? I actually don't know if I have the page for me to sketch this out. I have the mirror ball. Somebody's like, oh, come on, you can find it. Oh, here we go. We also, oh, this is what we call it. We also call it the Grogu ball or the Grogu ball. That's where. So it's on my thing. It says, get the Grogu ball, get through to Slytherin. So this is this is like what Lucifer can't get through to anybody. That's why nobody has the intelligence Lucifer has, because they're all stuck in their psychosis of like living in a matrix system or have their egos, or it's just like bizarro stuff. So so I'll do a really quick sketch on the Garagu ball. So what I'll do is I'll draw a person eating. And then the different vertebrae. And all the different vertebrae it's going to latch on to as it eats. It's kind of sloppy because it's just a sketch. So I'm just having, what I have is a human with like a spine. Like it looks like a balloon. And then I have these little wires. You're never gonna be able to see it like this. So let's look at this. Stop share. Even then it's gonna suck. So I have the human's head and I'm drawing out the vertebrae, and on each vertebrae I have the little wires that I'm going to attach the little gummy bear to, but I'm just going to do these little circles knowing that that's the gummy bear. Now, when you're getting really advanced and really good, you'll start to color out everything and you'll start to fill it in with detail. And the more detail you give to it, the more powerful it will become. So when you start to actually really draw it out and then like really color it in with like colored pencils or markers, probably colored pencils, that's when it starts to like take total life form. And it's just like creating a movie, you know? Like when you create the movie, it creates entire new worlds. So right now, I'm making sure that all the little lime green teddy bears are being anchored to the spine, all the way down the tail. And then I start to feel the shift on the planet. Because this ball, what I can do is just wrap it on a necklace. And then I can anchor it on any human on the planet and it will start doing the magic on them. So that they stop being dishonest snakes and start being more insightful creatures of wisdom and truth instead, which is really the baseline for existing on this planet. So like you're supposed to be a saint or a master to be living on this planet. So you must be like a virtuous muggle of Hode, which would be like a master of truth. Or truth, or a master, so that would be the saint, or a master, which is like a witch who's risen above the saints of truth. So now I'm drawing out the leaves. So it's when I keep on saying saints and masters only on this planet, it's because that's the rule. That's an ascension. Anything less than that, it's pretty bad. So when we're like, we're not supposed to have crazy reptiles that are committing sex crimes or sexual harassment or astral rape or astral knife rape or anything like that. We're supposed to live in like kind of a zened out utopia. The problem is most spiritualists are so out of their body, they refuse to admit or acknowledge any of the lower worlds, anything. And then they piss on you because it's so low vibe. Do you see, like, those people are like needing one of these anti-Slytherin balls, the Grogu balls. So telling somebody for being honest that they're low vibe because they're being honest is a crime. It's a crime. It's like shaming people out of being truthful. And so it's a form of abuse. To control people from like living in a healthy space. So I went to art school, and in art school, you get crucified for all your crappy mistakes and all your bad judgment and all your idiosyncrasies or all your lack of care, lack of insight. And some of it feels so unfair and some it all feels subjective. And you know what? Like at the end of the day, those kind of criticisms are nothing. So like you develop a sense of thick skin. And what happens is that you evolve. And then you go, oh, well, one, those people weren't necessarily right, but some of them really were. Some of them had great insight. But the way that it was handled was just a little too much, too abusive. So that's not the same as like people reporting sex crimes. Okay, so I'm almost done, but we don't want to rush it. Because now you guys have some time to go through your ornaments and maybe put a ball together, something. The biggest thing about magic is that it's all creativity and imagination. So it's image magician. So the more powerful the magical image that you put together, the better. And that's why we spend a lot of time putting our thoughts and our prayers and our energies into creating the artwork for the ball to work. You don't need to put a lot of time, but it sure helps. The more time and effort you put into it, boy. Like the effort and time I put into making the eggs, all you guys see, like the dragon eggs for Kabbalah, all you guys end up seeing is an egg, but the things that I'm putting inside the egg is a lot like these balls, and they're layered and layered and layered and layered with different grids and different magics and intentions so that the grid manifests really nicely. So like the magic for Gabriel is much different than the magic that came through for Hesed. But you guys won't know that until you do it. tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to get back on to Ravenclaw and start to work on it. It's really hard for me to be running Ravenclaw or trying to build a Ravenclaw class when I know that all I'm going to be doing is Gryffindor in the future. So like for Kabbalah 99, it's going to be me throwing this class together. But for Kabbalah 99 3/4, it's going to be Kelly. So she'll put the Ravenclaw class together. And we're going to figure out how to do that. And then probably she'll work with Elaine and Stacy, and they'll get new things together too. But it will be Kelly who runs she'll be the final boss. Okay. I know, I feel Stacy already wanting to come in. Okay, so we see the Grogu ball. So we have the little bears that will attach to the spine, and that's going to be the cobra acid that burns through all the crap in their DNA about being honest. And then we have the Vereda serum, and the Vereda serum is going to go throughout their entire aura, and it's going to be layers upon layers upon layers, and then we're going to have it times 4. So then I'm going to go at least 4 by 4. Or 5 by 4. I'm hearing from Lucifer, 5 by 4. And what that means is like 5 layers of this. So 5 layers. So I have 5 of these, but then they'll be layered on the inside. And then also 4 this way, this way, this way, this way. Maybe I should write that. So we'll do 5 layers like that. I'll just make 5 marks going like this. And then for the 4, we'll have it like this, and we'll just do a cross. That'll make it easier. That's the get through to Slytherin ball. So then again, I can just think about it. I'll go back to the screen share. So then I can just think about it like it's the little guy, but maybe there's all these little peacock balls inside of that little guy. So then they eat the gummy. Oh, I forgot to do where he is eating the gummy. Okay. And then, so now we also understand pot magic. So when people are cooking, these balls and these medicines go inside those cooks. So this is a known thing with drug shamans, is that it's the drugs that you're getting are actually like a reflection of the person who produced those drugs. And that's included in LSD and acid and in marijuana. So when you've got really good people that know what they're doing and do like written out magics for those medicines, it manifests, and then you actually have like a different trip. I'm not big on that, but I know that it's really more impactful when it's alchemy instead of a trip. Okay, so now let's go to the next one. So then we have the peppermint ball. So Lucifer likes to look at this ball and he goes, the Lexa ball. And so that's my sister. My sister's name is Lexa. And my sister had a problem growing up being a little more overweight than me and having like less physical fitness than me. she was always a little bit more pudgy, a little less talented. And you know what she did was just work. What she did was, instead of getting caught up in talents, like is something I would do, she would actually cut through all the bullshit and work. She with no excuses. Like, we have a 300-pound father. And so she, instead of buying into any crap, she would just cut through that shit and get to work. And she would do it every day and like make it happen. And so this is like, Lucifer really digs that. So that's the Lexa ball. So reclaim my body. So we first start with that, is like owning and adopting where I'm not where I want to be with my body. So I've gone through a hunger strike. I've been hanging out in London. I'm sitting in front of a computer doing a Kabbalah class, like 8 hours, 10 hours a day. I am exhausted. I try to go for like a 3 or 4 hour walk a day, but like that's nothing. That's like, I'm not even stretching or doing push-ups or like going, you know, but at least I'm moving. So I'm not where I want to be at anything. So it's like, how do I cut through all my crap and just start building the bricks? So then the next one is eat that frog. So the biggest thing for me is I hate push-ups and I hate upper body workouts like a lot. I also don't really like running that much, but I need to. So there are components to my workouts where like I'll do sit-ups. I'll do sit-ups for 3 hours and I have no problems. Like you can ask Lena. We'll go to the park on Sundays and historically, and we'll just do sit-ups for like an hour. It's nothing. But all the stuff that I don't want to do. And so the component about the Eat That Frog is that it's got the butterfly wings also, but it's got the Hufflepuff thing going on. So it's got the green and the yellow. And it's kind of like, just do 5 push-ups. You don't need to do the Gryffindor version of the eating that frog. You just need to do a little bit of the things that you hate. So you just need to do the Hufflepuff version. So maybe 3 pull-ups and maybe 5 push-ups and then maybe like 5 minutes of running around, you know? stuff that just adds up over time. Okay, so then we have the bear again. And I don't know why we have the bear again this time, but we'll deal with that. But I think this one is the yoga bear. Because the biggest thing is that also with the Eat That Frog, like get out of denial. You need to start doing your yoga every day. So that's the other component, is like me making sure that I'm on my yoga mat and getting my Ashtanga routine going again and like making sure that that's legit, because it's just so hard for me to get there. My sister, Lexa, has no problem with that. Zero. She had zero problem getting on her yoga mat. So that also helps with the Lexa ball for me to get onto the yoga mat. And so on the yoga mat is where I start to get my Gryffindor magic. So that's where it starts to come through, just little bits at a time. And it's the Gryffindor love. Now there's a really clear teaching that came through to me once upon a time when I was at BuzzFeed and I was on the softball team, and they gave me a glove, and the glove was really small. because the glove was really small. I couldn't catch the ball. So I'd be up working, like playing with guys that were 200 pounds and like would hit the ball at like 60 miles an hour or really fast and really hard. And I couldn't catch it because my glove was like this big. And it was so stupid. It was so stupid and demeaning. Like there was a really big lesson, like make sure your glove is big enough for what you're gonna need to handle. So the other component is like, I need to make sure my body is in shape to take on what's going to be being thrown at me in the future. And so like, this is a really clear reminder, like, hey, Gryffindor's coming and like your body's not in shape. So it's time to get there. So make sure that the glove is big enough to catch the ball. Okay, so then the next thing is the elephant. And then it's covered in the Gryffindor colors. And it's kind of like slow, steady movements forward will create the forest. So it's a remover of obstacles. So it's the same. This is just kind of the final teaching. And then the snail is the same thing. So all of those slow, steady movements forward, and that will begin to shift the DNA the way it's needing to be shifted into. And then we can have our treats like once a week, like mac and cheese. But that's the only time. So that's just the reclaim my body. So that's different than my martial arts body / ninja body. So we understand like this is where I have to begin. And I've got to do it, and I got to get out of denial about it. So I think that Rube Goldberg works really well. Is that when I can just, anytime I think about all it is that one of these things, anytime I see an elephant, it's time to hit the yoga mat. Stuff like that. Eat that frog. So these are just subtle reminders. All right, so then this is the real big, this is the cake. Okay, so I love the way you dance, ball. So there's a scene in Great Expectations where it's the guy that's chasing after the girl is like, I love the way you dance. The big thing is my romanticism is into the martial arts and circ work. And I love the way you dance is like, dance doesn't come from the dance. It comes from the 5,000 like wall sits that you have to do. And so the dance component is really the austere burning of the body, where you have to do big mental and emotional discipline training while like breaking through pain barriers and like doing real like punching through the brick wall work. So here is this is Grogu / Master Oogway. Okay, so this is Yoda to me. And then it's also my lion turtle. So that, again, it's like Lucifer. Okay, so this is Yoda, and he goes, here's the giant Gryffindor egg. So he's gonna bring it to me, but it's slow, like a lion turtle. Now there, in that Hermione ball, you saw the roses and you saw the 3 different sizes. But now you're gonna see the big rows, but the two different shades. One is the action, and then one's the stable action. So, and it's the same one. And the stable action is the Gryffindor color. Whereas the bright red is not the Gryffindor red, it's more of the Collie red is the Gryffindor red. Okay, so like I'm gonna have to start creating the action, but keep it going forever. And then we have the brick balls, where it's gonna be day after day after day of brick building. And then magic burns on my body and my DNA with the dragon magic. Well, you guys don't understand, but Charlie will show up for 5 minutes when I hit my yoga mat. And the other time he really shows up is when I'm teaching a class, kinda, but he really shows up when I start working out, or when I'm doing a wall sit, or when I'm doing something that's hard. And that's when Charlie loves me. And then we have more of the brick balls, and then hit on the yoga mat. So the yoga mat is the same, period. Now, there is a dual message in my bears. One, that I have to beat out Slytherin. But two, that I have to start at Slytherin level. So that's where it's kind of like cheap and cheaty and snaky, and like I do 5 push-ups instead of 50, like things like that. So I start at the Slytherin level, and then I evolve into the Gryffindor level. There's a component where the Slytherin is about the temptation also. So like I'm tempted to do something new. It's like an ego lust or desire for me to do it. And so that's also the Slytherin component, versus the Gryffindor is going to use that Slytherin component down the road. That's Ravenclaw. But so that it's okay for me to lust after trying to master a new pose or like a new ninja move, etc. Like it's okay for me to lust after of those things, because eventually I will develop the skills and the responsibility and the stability to move that forward. But sometimes I have to trick my mind out of going, instead of going, oh, but I don't want to do that. Like which is what Star does 5,000 million times a day. All right, so then we have the trees. But I don't want to write the grids for anti-knife way. But I don't want to write an email to her. Like things like where you break out of your ego crap. All right, so then we have the last part about this is the temptation component. So sometimes if you're not really tempted for the responsibility section, you're just tempted through the lustful desire, and that's what helps you climb the tree. Sometimes it's hard to desire to be responsible. You know, when you're desiring to be responsible is when you know and you've done the calculations around like protecting children. Then the desire to become responsible is pretty clear. But so the component is that the tree will branch out for you to want to eat it. So like Kung Fu Panda style. Instead of, oh shit, I have to go to 5,000 different martial arts classes right now. Instead of, so like there, oh, I see somebody playing in the park and I think I want to talk to them because they're doing all the martial arts work that I see them actually like doing good work, and I want to become friends with them and play, right? So there's that component. So that's the reclaim, like get my Jaguar ninja ball going. So I call this Jaguar climbing the tree ball also because the Jaguar is the master, but then the master always has to climb. So that's going to be different than the Jaguar ball. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. So the Jaguar, when it recognizes that it has to master the physical world, starts realizing it has to master the physical world. Oh, crap. I have to be a master against, I'm going to be up against Navy SEALs. Crap. And I'm going to be like a 40-year-old woman. Jesus. So like, I need to make sure I don't look like an asshole. Especially running Gryffindor. So I need to make sure that I'm in shape. I know how to take the balls that are going to be thrown at me, playing with like ninjas and Shaolin monks and Navy SEAL officers. Unbelievable. Okay. And all of their children, which is even harder. And a lot of their teenage children, which is much harder. Like, and Olympic athletes. Oh, having to listen to Star Fuentes tell everybody that she's Hermione. Now, let's talk about the Jaguar ball and personal power. The problem with Slytherins is that they lie a lot. And they lie to themselves, but they lie to their entire lineages. And they try to take away the power of everybody in the lineage. And they attack them. And they feed them crap. So where they're beating down on them constantly. There is a fertility and a fidelity magic in the cherry. So when we're cooking Gryffindor pie, there is a coming back to original personal power. And it's a really big component was me making the cherry pies. I baked like 3 of them. And there's also like a sexual healing component in that too, where that everybody should be in their own space. So then I like the component of this cherry pie because it has a like a lightning, like a Harry Potter lightning, and it's in the Gryffindor colors. The rainbow. The biggest thing about this is like, there is ether, and then there is all the light above ether. So it doesn't work like, oh, look at what I did in the astral planes. That's just the ether. So I'm God. You're a dipshit. Like all you're doing is playing in the ether, right? So and then the red is at the top of the rainbow. So it's like that's the highest component of the tree is the red. That's why the seraphim are usually at the top of the pyramid. I'm sorry, Kelly, for the Ravenclaw being down there, but you guys can get other different grids. So it's funny. This is a Yoda balls thing. So where it's like the Cobra acid, and Gryffindor is setting more clear boundaries around the globe. Okay, so now we've got the Jaguar ball. So this is what the baseline Jaguar ball is gonna look like. Is actually like a Jaguar ball. There's a really clear teaching about the Jaguar ball. When I started to write it down, I kept messing up. It was one of the first, I need to stop the share for a minute. It was one of the first balls I wrote down. So like I wrote the money bag ball here, and then the money ball here, the Robin Hood ball on this. But then we go their Jaguar ball, and it just kept messing up how I wrote it. And the biggest thing about the Jaguar ball is like, it doesn't mess up. It doesn't matter if you keep on messing up. You just keep rewriting it over and over until you get to the perfect space. And so the biggest lesson with the Jaguar is like, you don't like how you did it that time? Do it again. Do it again. Do it again. Oh, there we go. So like right now, I keep hearing in my head Star trying to tell me that this is all just schizophrenic. Now there is a huge sense of irony in that if I'm hearing her telling me that all of this is just schizophrenic, it unvalidates that it's just schizophrenic. And why? Because you hearing your master telling you a specific message that all of this is just schizophrenic, it unvalidates the idea that it's just schizophrenic. It's astral communication. And so it's really gross. And this is the problem with Slytherins, is that they're crazy. So that they'll actually tell you in the astral planes stupid shit to demean you and take away your control, or to take away your power. It's bizarre. So the biggest thing about, and here we've got the Gryffindor and the Ravenclaw version. So we are gonna do the Griffin blue and the Ravenclaw pink. So this is the normal color of the Jaguar ball, but then we have the options of the different colors of the ones. The Griffin one, I wanted to add a butterfly messenger. What? I don't know. I want that, like, I want butterflies to be helping me with issues. So with communication issues and transmutation issues. So the butterfly is a really clear indicator of change and fast DNA evolvement. So like how I needed to change, I see a mistake, and then I unattach from the mistake, and then I go ahead and change it. And then that butterfly gives me the new Gryffindor blue version of the Jaguar ball. And then the Ravenclaw ball will have its own magic. But here's a really clear, it's one picture, and I wanted to set it a grid like this. So the biggest thing about orchids, this is an orchid, is that they sit at the top of a tree. Top. And then we have the oak tree. So we have the grounded version of a tree, and then we have an evolved pretty lily version of a tree. And then we have the gnome that knows how to like go from the climb from the oak tree into the orchid. So making sure I know that I need to stay very grounded, even though my destination is to be on like at where the orchid is at. The same thing goes with the fig. The fig is known as like a giant like food of protection or perfection. This is my Hades grid. So this is Hades helping. Personal power means a lot of planet gridding over and over until we see Gryffindor taking over the planet, and then nice marshmallows and good stuff instead of junk. This is the flag of Scotland, so I remember Braveheart. So even if I'm getting tortured to death, that I still maintain my own personal power. Embarrassing. There is a really interesting order here. It's a responsibility versus vacation. So I don't really take vacations, and I haven't taken a vacation in like a decade. So even when I'm at the beach with a bunch of little kids, I'm like, I'm working. I'm either grid setting and I'm doing all the alchemical brain mutations, or I'm chasing after little kids and making sure they're like taken care of. So I just know like it's Braveheart in front of vacation 99.999% of the time. Then there's this next bubble that comes where it's like, if I'm going to get a vacation, it will sit in a bubble in my aura for when I really need it. Okay, so then we have, and then it's all in the bag after that. So this is also it's back to the potato bag healing, where I'm separating myself from the lower people. The lower people that won't do any of the work, but they'll point the finger at me and at everybody else. Okay, so that's the Jaguar ball. So that's my personal empowerment ball. So this is really great for any single time. Just any single time I see a rainbow, I go Jaguar ball. Time to rewrite things. I could have had a pencil and a blank piece of paper ornament in this, and that would work also. That I can start resetting my grids. Maybe this is a clear indicator of that I can always rewrite. I know I have a pencil or two. So then we have our last ball is going to be the Hufflepuff Cook Ball. But I want you to see how many things there are in the Hufflepuff Cook. And I also want you to see that there are repeated ornaments that I put in the Hufflepuff Cook. So there's just so much in the Hufflepuff Cook Ball that it's like, oh God, I just want this to be the alchemy of the Hufflepuff Cook, but I don't want to be remembering all of it. Okay, so like I want this to be the template of like what they have to go through, but I don't want to be running through that in my brain all the day. So then I create the shortcuts. So all of these things go into this muffin. So then this becomes my ball, and then it goes, this is the simple Hufflepuff Cook Ball. So like, let's get out of denial, the Hufflepuff Cook. Let's get out of denial, the Hufflepuff Cook. Let's get out of denial, the Hufflepuff Cook. And so it compresses that entire Rube Goldberg into like one pill. So then it's like Hermione giving the cupcake to the boys where they fall asleep really fast and it just knocks them out. So it's that. So this is my thing. I'll go through the explanation of the Hufflepuff Cook. Of like all the different alchemies and magics that come through, but some of them you're not gonna know because they're hidden. So this is just the Stacy and my beginning of the Hufflepuff Cook. So it starts with all of the alchemies that we were doing onto them, but then plus the Gryffindor and the Ravenclaw stuff coming through, and where they have to really look at the mirror of themselves. The big problem with Hufflepuff is that they haven't really done the work yet. The blueberry cheesecake is more of a Ravenclaw, and then we've got our Gryffindor taking over Netsack. So no more Slytherins allowed. Get out of denial. Like, here we've got, it's like, here are your options. You want to be jelly, right? You get Hufflepuff, you get Ravenclaw, or you get Gryffindor. That's the Ravenclaw pinkish kind of, and that's the Gryffindor blue kind of, but we can do both, you know, that can be Gryffindor and that can be Ravenclaw. So the Griffin blue and the Ravenclaw pink are like, those are the neon colors, and those are like old ET known medicines to counteract the imbalances that are in the auras of Gryffindors and Ravenclaws. Because the blue energy runs too cold. It's not balanced enough, so then they use a lot of that Ravenclaw pink to balance them out. And the same thing with the Gryffindors. Okay, so you want to be jealous. These are your jellyfishes, and then they can float up in the aura and then start to like pull through magics that come from each house, and then you can start to like have that energy in. So that's kind of like the Repello Squib time grid, but according to each house. All right, this for me is like the anti-knife rape stuff. All of the mushrooms. And there are reasons why I'm trying to think if we need to soften that up to be a little bit more fun and playful. This is letting go of everything icky into the lava. And so starting to make sure that a proper hode is in place. And then making sure we have a proper Yesod in place. Oh my God, making sure we're not vampires on anybody. So making sure that everything is coming properly through the sacral chakra in a nice balanced way, where it's like sexual healing instead of perversion and harm. Then we've got the grape jelly and the marshmallow fluff. We also have the honeycomb goos. So we have the goos that need to come through, and it's the initiations. So then we've got the Gryffindor blue and the Ravenclaw pink again that will come through. And then it's also, what I need to do is I need to go collect the honeycomb. So let's go back. I thought I had it, but maybe not. I wonder if I can find it really quick. I know we already passed it a bunch of times. So even this would be good. So the problem with these balls is if you do too many one day, like you go into overload and it just doesn't do so well. But if you do like one on a Sunday and then you do another one on another Sunday kind of thing, it works much better. I know we did these balls or something like it. Oh no. This one is about a planet regrid with the different layers to make sure that all the traps are taken out from Slytherins attacking in the astral planes, going into Ravenclaw and Gryffindor. But it also helps all the Hufflepuffs, so we're good. These layers being gridded around people will help facilitate a new neural wiring structure on those people. So that's going to help. Then we've got making sure that we've got Gryffindor's boundaries on those people, which is really this cook also. And then we've got the waters from Ravenclaw to come through. More intelligence from Ravenclaw. They have to eat all of it. So the thing about being a Hufflepuff is like, you get power, but you need knowledge. So you guys are going to be, the Hufflepuffs are going to be like eating from Gryffindors and Ravenclaws constantly and listening to them and working with them and getting ideas and new insights. So here's the big component, is that here's where the cook really begins to manifest and the real marshmallow layering begins. And this is the grounding component. So once the real cook begins on a Hufflepuff, is that it knocks them down the tree back to Malkuth to start going into the lower worlds, about halfway down into the Clippic. And so what happens then is that they can see all their lower selves and see where their lower selves are still really weak, and like that they didn't clean up or turn into gnomes, or like those really big humility lessons where you're like, you go, oh, that lower self could handle stuff, and then you actually have to become that lower self with some rando version of some higher self, and you go, that's not right, like that was really stupid. So you have to like balance out this idea or delusion that you're better than your lower self. And then we got back to the bubble. Like, this is really like pop that delusion bubble. Now for this is like, we don't let Hufflepuffs go into Netsuck to become Slytherins again. So if they ever hit Netsuck again, they're protected by Gryffindor. Period. Forever. So that's to burn away all the old from all the old reptile stuff from their past, so that they don't downward spiral. And then here we have the eggs where they can like start to take on the new eggs. So even if they sat in Netsuck like me, none of them are going to be able to. But it's still protected by Gryffindor reality. And then we have, this is a humility lesson. It's like the orchid's only halfway showing. It's a crap version. And then we have the pink daisy clematis or whatever. And then we have the ass, because sorry, Hufflepuff. You guys are asses. Guys are like, you guys look like asses and you sound like asses and you're Hufflepuff for a reason. Now, this is a really clear component from Griffin. It's like Gryffindor just keep knocking those Hufflepuffs back down with all of our super intelligent grids. Because, like, they ain't doing, like, the work that a Gryffindor does. So that will keep them cooking also. And then this is another eat that frog teaching. And it's like, this is your job, Hufflepuff. Like, eat that frog. It's like, learn how to turn everything into mush and goo and love. Like, and that's it. And then this is a clear indicator of our grid, or we have a Ascendio grid around like these kids, and we did it at a dragon temple, and like that's the main Hufflepuff grid for the planet, and then that becomes a template. So this is my template, like where a bunch of candy is just they're all the same, like 5,000 kids, and it's like they're all, it just looks the same. It's just one giant pattern in their DNA. So then we've got the onions that they're united. So then we have the sunflower, and then we've got more marshmallow goo balls, and then we got Scotland again. So Gryffindor is making sure that this is gonna be cooked. So, period. And then again, we've got the daisy and the yellow rose, more of the Hufflepuff cook. And we're taking this Slytherin and we're turning it into a giraffe. And then it's the dragon fruit, making sure that all of it works. And then more on the pad, here's the grape jelly with the Hufflepuff gnome. And then the cauliflower. I don't remember what the cauliflower was for. Probably just more like, oh, it's the vegan raw popcorn. So the only way I like to eat popcorn is, or cauliflower is like this turmeric flavored vegan raw popcorn. And this is like a reminder that I don't remember what. Can we throw that out, Lucifer? What is that, Lucifer? Lucifer, what is that? I don't remember. So it doesn't remember. Okay. So that was weird. It looks like crap. But this is the component. It's like, at the end of the day, it's Ravenclaw. Harry Potter is Ravenclaw, Gryffindor, and Hufflepuff, and that's it. Like, that's all we're doing. So cook, that's the, it's like, and then we're doing it around the globe. And that's the money. And the money is like taking care of the planet. The sand dollars. And then this is the armadillo is the animal of like humility and good love. So you see how like this Hufflepuff cook is just huge, and all the lessons that need to get learned is just huge, and that's why we would just put all of it in one cupcake. Okay, so then we've also got to make sure so here we have Calico Kitty, that's like, that this is Callie Wren with the intelligence of making sure nobody gets knife raped. So then we're definitely all going to be sitting on Tiferet. So the Hufflepuffs are on Tiferet, so they're not getting knife raped. And then it's the butterflies, the reminder from Yoda. There's a vegan component here where we're really mindful about what we eat. That like we should have this reminder that we take one bite of chicken and we realize that it's crap. Like, why am I eating an animal right now? Who said I could eat that animal? Here's Stonehenge, and the grid we set at Stonehenge was the initial Hufflepuff cook. So that's also why we got it. So that's where the shadow and the light come together as one. So it's not like this weird dual reality, and we go all shadow reconciled at Stonehenge. Okay, the next component were the lighters. So we had the pink lighter and we had the lime lighter at Hufflepuff. And so we've got those spirals, DNA running through for everybody. And then we've got the Gryffindor honeycomb. So then we've got, this is more cobra acid. So if anybody really wants to know what cobra acid looks like, the charm, it goes from this color to like this color. It goes in between, and it's sparkly like that. So this is the, there is no such thing as Slytherin on this planet, love Gryffindor shoes. So this is everybody gets these shoes, the Hufflepuff shoes, and then the insoles are like supported by Gryffindor. Yay, you guys aren't going any further lower than Hufflepuff. And then again, the socks protected, like get out of denial. We need to triple this. Like this is the giraffe that goes, I see the future. We need way more of this. And then this is the dragon fire crystal. And then we've got again, oh, here we have it. We have it here. That's why we forgot it. The dragon blood, more Gryffindor honeycomb grids. This is a healthy root chakra, the innocence of the white bunny, the exorcism work, the lemon juice clarity in their eyes. And then here we've got more Yoda ball eggs. Here we have, it's like, even if we have a hint of netsack, it's just a teeny bit of netsack, and it's mostly just the top three houses. And then we've got the get out of being a pansy, get into Hufflepuff. Like, don't be a dumb pansy stuck in Hode as a muggle. And then this is the external of the Hufflepuff egg, one of the layers. It's like takes netsock and it puts burn on it. And then we do it again. And then zen it, and then we burn it again, and then we package it up, and then we actually have a whole other Hufflepuff egg we wrap it up in with sunflowers and lemon goo and all of that good stuff. So that should be on this too, or all the things on the outside, but we wanted to do all the things on the inside first. So there are magics. There are like spinal build magics. There are certain things that we're doing on the Hufflepuff Cook that we will not be revealing online. I'm going to be throwing in now because we're not going to share publicly everything that's going into it. But we'll show you a bunch of the good stuff. But like the lemon juice goo and on the outside, because we're not stupid. All right, so now you start to understand like what you can build with a Rube Goldberg. It's all about your own internal imagination. The next time I do one of these, I might do one, like I'll do the setup for the 5 biggest world problems. And then the next video will be us building the entire Goldberg, and like we'll do the draw out and like the layout of like what goes where and etc. And how that all plays out. But now you get an idea of what you can really do. All right, that's it. Collier out.